Well, a Melbourne law firm has designed a free program to help people represent themselves in court. The online Robot Lawyer will be launched this week and will provide people going through the court system unrepresented an avenue to state their case. For more on this, we have Andrew George, partner at law firm Doogue and George, who joins us now. Thank you very much for your time today, Andrew. What services will these robot lawyers be offering?
The service is for people who are pleading guilty to minor traffic or criminal offences, Catherine, and it's only really for people who have not been through the court process before, that is, people who don't have prior convictions.
So how will it practically work?
Well, the system is a fairly straightforward system. People can log on to the site on either a mobile device or a desktop and then answer a series of questions, provide their name, their date of birth and email address, answer a series of questions which will take them through the basic information that a court or a magistrate will need to know when they're considering penalty in any case. And these are the sorts of questions that lawyers would typically ask someone who they were representing.
You obviously saw that there was somewhat of a need, given that 30% of those who go through the court system are unrepresented. What would you say are the benefits of doing this?
I think the benefits are fairly evident to someone like me who's been practising for 25 years or so. Every day in the Magistrates Court there are reams of people who are unrepresented and are pleading guilty. The court's a fairly intimidating place. People are nervous and anxious. They are often unused to speaking in public, and in those circumstances they find it very difficult to tell their stories. Magistrates do their very best to get the information from people, but they're often under pressure from extensive court lists and a lack of resources themselves, so it's quite a difficult situation. Often we see people leaving court and saying to their friends and family, "Oh gosh, I wish I had have told the magistrate about this issue or that issue, and I forgot to mention why I need to keep my licence," because they're nervous and anxious. And what we hope through this system is that they'll be able to put these thoughts into writing, and the robot lawyers will produce a document for them that they can either hand up to the magistrate, which will provide the basic information, or alternatively, if they like to, they could read from it. And that way the magistrate will get the basic fundamental information, and it can act as a diving board or a leap-off point, if you like, for the magistrate to inquire in more depth.
So that was going to be my next question. It seems as though these robot lawyers are very much so a starting point. It would be remiss to think that they are replacing the real deal like yourself.
Absolutely right, Catherine. Wouldn't want to replace lawyers. We think we add value, unlike many people in the community, I suppose. But we do think they're a real place for lawyers. This is for people who will never be able to afford a lawyer, or because of the cutbacks to legal aid and to other services, won't be able to access a lawyer. So lawyers will still have their place. And it's certainly the case that we suggest to people that if they can afford a lawyer, they should always do that, because people, we think, are better off if they're actually represented in court by a real lawyer. Certainly Robot Lawyer doesn't give legal advice.
No. Finally, Andrew, before we let you go, are you worried that this free service will either eliminate the need or reduce the need for government funding of legal services?
No, we don't. Myself and my partners have all spent the last 25 years urging government to provide more funds to legal services, but as we saw in last year's budget, there's over $30 million that's going to be taken away from legal services throughout Australia by the Commonwealth Government over the next 3-year period. That's a lot of money. The reality is that there's no votes in legal aid money. Unfortunately, the community seems to see that as wasted money rather than money well spent. So we don't think that, well, certainly we won't stop lobbying for more money for legal aid services, but we think this might fill a gap and provide some access to justice for people who wouldn't otherwise have that.
Okay, Andrew George, partner at Doogue and George Defence Lawyers, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Catherine.